Hey guys, I'm back with another question from September 2020 exam. The question is, how will this 10 ampere will be shared by these Z1, Z2, Z3 impedances? Okay, so what we need to find? We need to find the current I1 that flows through Z1 and the current I2 that flows to Z2 and the current I3 that flows through Z3. Okay, so we need to find this. We know 10 and we know the values of Z1, Z2 and Z3. Okay, since this is AC, all the values are complex numbers. I, the current I and the impedance Z and the voltage V are complex numbers. So in complex number we will denote them using rectangular notation A plus JB or polar notation or polar form. Okay, rectangular form and polar form. Okay. So in the question he has given two impedances in rectangular form and one impedance in polar form. Okay. So before doing anything, first we need to convert Z1, Z2, Z3 in both the form. We need to have them listed in both the form, polar and rectangular. Okay. So how do you do that? Now we have 2 minus j5. I need to convert this to rectangular form. Okay. In your use your calculator. In your calculator there is a function called polar POL. Okay, and input 2 comma minus 5 there. 2 comma minus 5. Then you will get 5.385 as a magnitude at an angle is minus 68.198. Minus 68.198 degrees. Okay. Similarly, the Z2 is already in polar. We need to convert that into rectangular. So there is a function called rectangle REC and input 6.708 comma 26.56. You will get 6 plus 3j, 6 plus j3. Okay, and similarly convert this to polar. What you will get? Polar function 3 comma 4 are inputs, 3 comma 4, and the answer is 5 at an angle of 53.13 degrees. Okay, so now we have all the three impedances in both polar and rectangular forms. So then what we need to do? How do you find current? Okay, the only the fundamental formula we know is Ohm's law, right? So what does Ohm's law say? Ohm's law says current through a resistor or an impedance I bar is equal to voltage across that impedance divided by the impedance value. Okay, so what is the voltage across Z1, Z2 and Z3? Since they are connected in parallel, the voltage across all the three is same. That will be the voltage here. Okay, so V bar by Z1 will give us I1, V bar by Z2 will give us I2, V bar by Z3 will give us I3. But what is V bar? Usually they would have directly given V bar, but instead here they have given here I bar. Okay, that is I, 10 amps. Okay, so how do you find V bar? So V bar is I bar into Z parallel. Okay, the effective resistor, the effective impedance, the combined impedance of these three parallel impedances. So that if we find, and I bar is 10 amperes, if you multiply them we will get V bar, and then each of the I1, I2 and I3 are V bar by Z1, V bar by Z2 and V bar by Z3. Okay. So how do you find ZP bar? Okay, so ZP bar is, we know the formula is 1 by ZP bar is equal to 1 by Z1 plus 1 by Z2 plus 1 by Z3. Okay, so this is the same formula in DC circuit also. 1 by R parallel is 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. Similarly, ZP is 1 by ZP is 1 by Z1 plus 1. So now we have here, okay, there are many ways we can continue from here. You can use polar form for 1 by Z1 and then convert that to rectangular form and add these three. Okay, what I will do is I will use this one complex number formula. Okay, what is that? That is, if you have something like this is a formula, right? 1 by A plus IB. Okay, if you have 1 by A plus IB, you can write it as A minus IB by, or 1 by A plus GB, A minus JB by A square plus B square. Okay, the complex number in the denominator will go to numerator. Okay, and then we can just add them. That's what we will use here. Okay, so if we have 1 by z1, what is 1 by z1? 1 by z1 is 1 by 2 minus j5, 2 minus j5, plus what is 1 by z2? Z2 is 6 plus 3j, 6 plus j3. What is 1 by z3? 3 plus j4, 3 plus j4. I can write these like 2 minus j5 will become 2 plus j5 divided by 2 square is 4 plus 5 square is 25. Okay, plus 6 plus j3 will become 6 minus j3 divided by 6 square is 36 plus 3 square is 9. According to this complex property, complex number property, 1 by a plus 1 by complex number is complex conjugate by a square plus b square. So plus 3 plus j4 will become 3 minus j4 by 3 square is 9 plus 4 square is 16. So what will we get here? 2 by 29 plus j 5 by 29, right, plus 6 by 45 minus j 3 by 45. Okay, then plus 3 by 19 plus 6 is 9 plus 16 is 25 minus j 4 by 25. Okay, so what will you get as 1 by zp is 1 by zp is 1 by, not 1 by, just yeah, 2 by 29 plus 6 by 45 plus 3 by 25. Use your calculator. 2 by 29 plus 6 by 45, 6 by 45 plus 3 by 25, 3 by 25 will give us 0.322, 0.322, and then add the j terms. How do you add constant terms plus j terms, right? So how do you add j terms? 5 by 29, ignore j, 5 by 29, 5 by 29 minus 3 by 45 minus 3 by 45 minus 4 by 25 minus 4 by 25 will give us minus 0.054 minus j 0.054. So this is 1 by zp. Okay, how do you get zp? Again, you can use this formula. Zp is 1 by 0.322 minus j 0.054, right? So this will become, zp will become, the complex conjugate will be in the numerator, so that is 0.322 plus j 0.054 divided by 0.322 square plus 0.054 square. Okay, according to this formula. So what will you get? Zp is equal to 0.322 square plus 0.054 square is 0.106. So this will be 0.106. So Zp will be 0.322 by 0.106. 322 by 0.106, that will be 3.037 plus j 0.054 by 0.016, 106 will give me 0.509. Okay, now I have Zp, the effective or the effective impedance of these three parallel impedances. Okay, now I need to multiply I bar into Z bar, but I bar is in polar form. So I bar here is 10 at 0 degrees. Okay, if nothing is given, 10 at 0 degrees you have to take. 10 at 0 degrees ampere into, this number should be also in polar form. Okay, if you multiply two complex numbers, both of them should be in the either rectangular form or polar form. Okay. So just convert this into polar form. What will you get? Zp is, again use polar function, 3.037 comma 0.0509 will give me 3.079 at an angle of 9.514 degrees. Okay, this is my ZB in parallel impedance in rectangular form and in polar form. Okay, so now I will use it to find V bar. So what will be V bar? V bar will be 3.079 at an angle 9.514 degrees. How do you multiply two polar forms? V bar will be 10 into 3.079 will be 30.79 at an angle 0 plus 9.514, that will be 9.514 volts. Okay, so this is my V bar, this V bar. Now finally I can find I1, I2 and I3. What will be I1? I1 bar is V bar by Z1. Okay. So V bar is 30.79 at an angle of 9.514 divided by Z1 bar is 5.385 at an angle of minus 68.198. So how do you do this? You take a calculator. 30.79 by 5.385. 30.79 by 5.385 will give us 5.717 at an angle 9 minus 68.180. When you divide, the angles subtract. So that will be 9.514 minus bracket minus 68.198. 68.198 will give me 77.712 degrees amperes. So the first current value is 5.717 at 77.712 degree amperes. Okay. Similarly, I2. So I2 will be V bar by Z2 bar. So V bar is again 30.79 at an angle 9.514 divided by Z2 bar is 6.708 at an angle of 26.56. So I2 bar will be 30.79 by 6.708. 30.79 by 6.708, 4.59 at an angle. When you divide, angle subtract. So that is 9.54514 minus 26.56 minus 17.046 degree amperes. This is I2. Okay. Similarly, finally, I3 is V bar by Z3 bar. So that will be 30.79 at an angle of 9.514 divided by Z3 is 5 at an angle of 53.13. So that will give me 30.79 divided by 5, that is 6.158 at an angle. Subtract the angle. 9.514 minus 53.13 minus 43.616 amperes. Okay. So the question was asked, how is 10 ampere current shared by Z1, Z2 and Z3 which are connected in parallel? So to find that means we need to find the current flowing through each of the impedances. That will be V by Z1, V by Z2 and V by Z3. So first we need to find V. So what is V? V is total current into total impedance. Total impedance is Z parallel. How do you find Z parallel? 1 by Z parallel is 1 by Z1 plus 1 by Z2 plus 1 by Z3. Okay. So to invert the complex number, invert the impedance value, we use this formula. 1 by A plus JB is A minus JB by A square plus B square. And we found out ZP in rectangular form and in polar form. Multiplied ZP with the total current 10 amperes, we'll get V, and then V by Z1 will give us I1, V by Z2 will give us I2, and V by Z3 will give us I3. It may look like a lot of numbers here, but there is only two formulas. Okay, one is Ohm's law formula, that is you already know that. Another is 1 by A plus JB is A minus JB by A square plus B square. Use your calculator and do not make any sign mistakes. Okay. Thank you. If this video helped you and if you want to learn more, check out our full basic electrical course. The link is in the description. Also, like this video and share it with your classmates, and subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon to keep learning.